Let's go through 5 essential accounts that you should have and 2 bonus ones that are a perk if you have access to them. What's up, everybody? Chris Lee, Everyday Finance 101. Longer form video today talking about the 5 accounts that I think everyone should have and are crucial to for your financial journey. And then some bonus ones, specifically 2 of them that if you have access to them is sweet to add to the rotation. Okay, so let's get right into it. First one that we are going to have is a basic savings account. Okay, so I got a bunch of Google tabs open here and I'm just going to kind of roll through them. But a basic savings account. And so I'm actually going to zoom in here on all of these so we can see them a little bit better. But overall, whatever savings account you pick, most people, their parents set them up with one when they are younger, and then they just kind of use that one in their adult life, which is fine. But I just want you to have one that you feel comfortable with whatever app interface or web browser interface and just the overall features of it. But basically, this can be at a bank, all right? It can also be, I don't think it says in here, but you can use a credit union one if that makes you feel more comfortable. And it is just going to house, I'm going to show you a different sheet here, but I just want this to house $1,000 for you, okay? A basic savings account, nothing crazy. This is where you are going to have at least $1,000 in my opinion. And so, for example, what my wife and I use for our savings account is we just use Huntington. I like the app. I like that there's a lot of ATMs that have access to across the country, not just in Michigan. And I've just liked what it has offered us. And so that is our first account to use. Moving on to the second account, you could probably guess it. It is a checking account. And so this I recommend being at the same place that your savings account is. And a checking account for me is where you're going to get all of your direct deposits. Your Venmo will come out of here if you have that. Your different bills you'll pay out of here. And then also I want it to be easy to access and at a familiar place or institution that you think is a good fit for you. So again, a checking account, fundamental bank account here. And I want you to be comfortable with whatever one you have set up. Again, back to the parents thing. Usually they set you up with checking and savings and you just kind of roll that into your adult life, which is perfectly fine if you like what you have. So that's the first 2, savings and checking, all right? In the savings account, I told you to have about $1,000. In a checking account, you have to have however much makes you feel comfortable to pay your bills every single month, week, year, whatever. For us, it's my wife and I. I'm 28, my wife's 29. We have a dog, no kids. We have a house, we have 2 cars. Kind of a basic lifestyle. I get quote unquote basic lifestyle. And we keep $9,000 in our checking account. That is what makes me feel comfortable. We have obviously our paychecks come into that, bills go out of that. But that's what makes me feel comfortable in our checking account. So you got to determine that number based off of how much you spend and what you like to see in there. But that is what we keep in our checking, and then we keep the 1K in our savings. Okay, let's move on to the third account here. We also use Huntington for both of those. So the third account is going to be some type of high yield account. Now I'm going to go through 2 options here. But the reason that you want a high yield account is because normal banks pay you crap. Usually they pay you 0.01%. That is not 1%, ladies and gentlemen. That is 0.01 of a percent. I know some credit unions pay more than that, but in general, most traditional big banks pay pretty crap interest. And so I want you to get a high yield savings account. And what you're going to put in this high yield savings account is the rest of your emergency fund. So remember I told you to only have $1,000 in your savings account. The rest of your emergency fund goes in the high yield savings account. And short-term saving goals. So think like 5 years or less. That is our safe money, quote unquote. And I want it to be in a high yield savings account. So the high yield savings account that I like with minimal to no fees, that keeps its interest rate or its APY consistent, and that allows you to move your money swiftly. There's a lot of them out there, but the one that I like specifically is Ally. And so when you go to Ally's website, you can see that its current APY, or its current high yield savings, is 3.5% the last time I checked. But let's just double check it to verify, so that we can be giving accurate information here as my computer loads. But Ally is an online bank, and so there you go. There's the 3.5%. And so the reason they can pay higher interest is because they don't have as many like fixed costs for their buildings and those employees and things like that. So they are able to pay a higher interest. And so let's just say you had $10,000 in that bank and you were paid the 3.5% interest. That's what 3.5 looks like in decimal form. You would get $350 of interest per year for your money just sitting there. Okay, so that's important. Now, the other side that is also like a high yield, so this is not a new account, is a money market account. And so what a money market account is this is typically at a brokerage house. So that's where you can do investing, and it will sit in a fund or an account called a money market account, similar to high yield savings, but sometimes these pay even more. So we used to keep our money at Ally, but now we keep our money at Fidelity, and that is because their money market account, SPAXX, which I'll have to get into Fidelity here, actually pays 3.96%. So Ally paid only 3.5%. And so this SPAX account that your money can sit in is a money market fund, and it earns, if I zoom in here, 7-day yield is 3.96%. So that is better than 3.5. And when we pull out that same calculator, or you could just do the math in your head, $10,000, this is going to pay you $396 per year for your money just sitting there. This is, again, going to be for 5-year or less short-term saving goals, or for your emergency fund. There's no need for your emergency fund to sit in traditional banks where they earn no interest. Okay, so far the accounts that we have: savings account, right, $1,000, checking account, makes you feel comfortable. Then we just did the high yield account, either money market or traditional high yield. Okay, the fourth account that we're going to talk about is a traditional brokerage account. So just like we were on Fidelity for the money market account, that is where a brokerage house account would be. Think of companies like Robinhood or E-Trade or Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Webull. Brokerage houses allow you to have access to the stock, bond market, crypto market. It's kind of an independent third party that allows you access. And so this is the fourth account that I want you to have. It allows you to get more money into higher yielding assets overall. And so again, we use Fidelity for that one, but a traditional brokerage account would be my fourth account I would want you to have. Okay, moving on to the fifth account before we get to the bonus ones. Roth IRA. You might have heard of this buzzword overall. This is a retirement asset, or a retirement investing option that allows you to invest your after-tax dollars. So basically that just means money from your bank account. You can put that money into a Roth IRA, and then when you invest it, it grows tax-free. So usually a lot of things that you invest have some kind of tax on them, either on the back end, in the middle, or on the front end. This one is on the front end. So you put $100 from your bank account into the Roth IRA, and that $100 grows into $10,000 because you leave it there for like 30 years. The gain from 100 to 10,000 is not taxed because it's in the Roth IRA. Okay, so it's a very powerful vehicle for you to be able to utilize for retirement, for tax-free dollars in retirement, and that is the fifth account that I would want you to have. Now we're going to get into two bonus ones. Then we're going to kind of review it all with a sheet that I'm going to give you. Like, I'm not going to expect you to remember all this, so that this can make more sense for you. So the sixth account, or the first bonus account, is going to be the HSA. HSA is a health savings account. You can only have these if you have a high deductible health plan. And so if you have health insurance through work, or you get it on the marketplace and you have a high deductible and it's eligible to have an HSA, this is basically a triple tax advantaged account that allows you to take money from your paycheck and then get a tax deduction, invest the money in the market and let it grow tax-free, and then finally pull the money out for qualified medical expenses, and you can use that as a triple tax advantaged account. It's the only account ever that is triple tax advantaged that way, because most accounts, you either pay tax on the front end, you pay tax on the gain, or you pay tax when you take it out. Roth front end, brokerage account, traditional brokerage account, you pay it when you on the gains itself, and then the 401k you pay on the end. So this avoids all three of those taxes, and it is a awesome tool to pay for medical expenses that most of us will probably have in the USA. All right. Now we're going to get to our seventh account, or our second bonus account, and that is going to be a traditional 401k. Now this can be 457, 403b, a SEP IRA, whatever you want to call it. But basically this is a retirement vehicle that most people have access to if they have an employer. And the reason I want you to have this one, and the reason it's a bonus account, is some people don't have access to them. But the reason I want you to have it is because you get, and I've done videos on this, an employer match most time, and that is free money. So sometimes employers will say, hey, you put $10 into retirement, and we'll also put $10 into retirement. Sometimes they say we'll put 20 in if you put 10, or sometimes they say we'll put 5 in. But it is free money, and I don't want you to miss out on free money. And so that is why I want this to be the bonus account if you have access to it. So reviewing these all in a sheet that I think is going to be much more helpful is this little Google Doc that I have that I will share with you. And it walks through kind of my reasoning for these accounts and why we would want them. And so the savings account was number one. And I put easy ATM access for cash withdrawals. And then you can have a bank or credit union that you enjoy the interface. And then for the savings account, I only want $1,000 there. That is for quick cash if you need it, pseudo emergency fund, but in your traditional savings account. Then we talked about the checking account. This I would recommend being the same institution as the savings account. And then this is where your direct deposits, your checks, your Venmos, everything's hooked up to. And then also, again, you want to pay bills from this account, and then keep an amount in there that makes you feel comfortable. My wife and I, it is $9,000. All right. Moving down to account number 3 that we talked about, either the high yield savings or the money market account. And so in here, you're keeping your emergency fund or short-term savings goals, and you want to earn higher interest on your money because I want your dollar to go as far as you can. I don't want you to be earning less when you could just do a couple clicks of a button to get somewhere else. All right. Then the fourth account that we talked about was a traditional brokerage account. This is going to be allowing you to get extra investments in the market. You can put as much money in these as you want. And basically, if you have excess cash and you're going to leave it for 5 or more years, because my philosophy is you don't time the market, you stay in it for a long period of time, at least 5 years. And this allows you to potentially build a bridge retirement account if you want to retire early before 59 and a half or before Social Security, and allows you to have an advantage with only taking long-term capital gains on the money. And then you can bridge that retirement gap a little bit. Okay, moving on to the fifth account I had was the Roth IRA. This is that super powered account that allows you to put in taxed dollars and they grow tax-free forever. And so basically you take money from your bank account, you put it in this, they grow tax free. You can put 7 grand in a year for 2025 or 8,000 if you're 50 or older. And so I highly recommend anyone to max that out if they are able to. Then we had the 2 bonus accounts here. And so we had the HSA and the other retirement options at work. And so for this, the HSA, I explained the triple tax advantage a little bit. You get a current year tax deduction. You can invest it and it grows tax free. And you can take money out of it for qualified medical expenses tax free as well. $4,300 is the max for a single, $8,550 for a family plan, extra $1,000 if you're 55 or older, and that is only if you have a high deductible health insurance plan. Now, if you have high deductible, then you switch the next year to low deductible, your HSA stays intact. It stays intact. It's not like an FSA where you use it or lose it, which is pretty cool. Then the last one I had was getting your employer match at your 401k, 403b, 457, SEP IRA, whatever it is. And so if your employer offers this and they give you an employer match, which is free money, you need to take it. If you also want to lower your current year taxable income, then you can put more in here because you get a deduction for that. If you don't need that, then max out your Roth or put more money in the traditional brokerage account to bridge the retirement gap if you're going to retire early. That is my 5 essential accounts plus the 2 bonus ones that I think you need to be set up for success financially. That is what my wife and I have used up to this point, and it has worked out well, and I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully videos like this are helpful overall. I'm happy to make whatever content you need. That's the goal of the channel. But other than that, Chris Lee, Everyday Finance, and I will see you guys in the next one.